Hello, good morning. Happy Monday to you all. I've just popped on today to show my two latest journals. They'll be going up in my Etsy shop when this video is done. It's funny how they've both ended up with a bit of a green theme. Don't really like green, bizarre, but anyway. This one is Victoria and this one is Vintage Fairies. So we'll start with the Vintage Fairies and we'll move on to Victoria in a minute. So this one is made from a hardback book cover, and as you can probably see there, it says the complete book of Flower Fairies. So I bought a book in a charity shop called Flower Fairies, and I've, as always, taken the inside out and made it into a journal. I chose to keep the green of the book because I wanted to keep that gold writing down the side. So then I've added some packaging paper as a mat, and then this is the inside dust cover of the book. I just thought it was all green and hand drawn and it was just beautiful. I've done a dangle with this one, quite a big chunky long one. So we've got some gold ribbon, some deep dark green ribbon. This is some see-through wired ribbon. There's some white lace, and then I've done a green cord with a variety of different green and white buttons on. I've done another cord that's got different sized green beads sitting on a dark green button. There's a wax stamp or seal, and there's this bluey green heart, metal heart, and that's all on one of these like claw clasps, so you could clip it off if you wanted to put it somewhere else if it's too chunky and noisy and annoys you. On the back cover, just in the bottom left hand corner, I've semi-repeated the front, so I've rough torn some packaging paper and I've put a picture from the book onto it. As you can see, it's tied with silk seam binding that's been coffee dyed, and I've put it through a grommet so it's nice and solid, not really going anywhere. And then when we open up the book, you can see what I was saying to you about the dust cover that's on the front. It's a hidden spine, there's some green and white fabric, and then there's this lace. And I've done a lot of fussy cutting here, so you've got coffee dyed paper with the Rose Fairy fussy cut from the book, and then as we go over really dark coffee dyed with the lace, there's a music page here. I've put a packaging paper pocket, it's got stamping and coffee dyed cheesecloth. There's a inked up poem or song from the book. There's a little fabric flower and a little paper tag. And then there's a journaling card here that's got a vintage card, postcard stamp, some ribbon and another fussy cut from the book. When we turn it over, there's a lace on this music paper. Got a huge picture from the book here. These are the Carnation Fairies. There's not many flowers I know, but I've learnt a few doing this book. Again, this is simple packaging paper and I've glued the picture to it. Lots of journaling space here. You've then got some handmade onion paper, onion skin paper. That's in there. And then you've got this beautiful scene, and this is where the names go, this beautiful picture of this cheeky baby fairy and a beautiful bird, and I just thought that bird sat well with that onion paper. And this is on the narrow side of the fold because this was an odd size book. And then when you come over, we've got another picture that's on that hinged area. We've got a fabric and lace pocket here, and then journaling card with another beautiful baby fairy in there. This is newsprint paper on here, this lightweight one that's got quite a wide lace on it. There's some burgundy lace as well, and you can see this is a tuck spot of the packaging paper and a beautiful picture from the book that's all been fussy cut and stuck to coffee dyed paper. Coffee dyed textbook page, and then this is another hinge you can see here, and this is another part of the book, and it says open your eyes to shop and school, to work and play, to the busy people pass all day. They hurry, hurry to and fro, and hardly notice as they go the wayside flowers known so well, whose names so few of them can tell. They never think of fairy folk who may be hiding for a joke. I think it's so cute. And then here it is, the wayside, Flower Fairy of the wayside. It's almost like a butterfly, her wings. And then we've got some more of this like handmade paper that's got fibres and wood pieces in. Here's a vintage page from my family book, and this is the 1800s, and it's got some embroidery images there and a lovely lady there. This is from my vintage bank book. This is the first signature, there are two in here. And then again there's another black and white image from the book and some bluey green lace, and that's the other side of that page, and it's the lace makers, so I thought it was quite fitting to have a lot of lace in this book, and you can see there again. And then obviously this is the other side of that paper. It just sounds and feels gorgeous. And then we've got an envelope here, and the envelope's been decorated with this poppy fairy. How could there not be a poppy? On the other side I've made a pocket out of this beautiful burgundy applique that's come from an evening gown, and this is just a journaling card, and that's a different type of poppy in that there. Lined notebook again, the newsprint again. As you can see, there's lots and lots of journaling space in here. This is really a book for a writer or somebody who collects lots of photographs or whatever. Some gold and white lace there, and then we've got the horse chestnut fairy, and again you can see I fussy cut all of that, stuck it to this dark coffee dyed page. And then on the other side of that page we've got a stamped poppy seed and postage stamp onto this belly band, and then I've cut one of the pictures out. I've put two slits so that will slide up and down your belly band, and then I've also made an envelope. I put some of that burgundy lace and some more of that applique. It is empty and it just goes under there, so you can easily put something in there. That's that onion dyed paper again. We've got more packaging paper here with beautiful lace. And then we've got a pocket. This pocket's made from card and it's got a gusset, and it's a fussy cut fairy again, some lace and stamping. And then we've got a really large journal card, the Song of the Wild Cherry Blossom, lots of journaling space on the back there. And then I've just put some music paper that I made into an envelope. It's an envelope, can't get my finger in here, there you go, it's an envelope, and I've glued it between the thin guest check and the card, so you've got a flip flat there. And then there's this beautiful fussy cut fairy on there. I did warn you I've done a lot of fussy cutting. There's music page there, and this is just a long slim envelope. It's got that lovely lace on again. I've just put some bits of fabric on here and some stamping, and this is the song of the Poppy Fairy, and I just hooked it over the page. There's nothing in it, by the way, and then under a paper clip. That's how that's on there. And this is just a decorated hinge again. And then here we've got another one of these lace pockets and an image from the book. And again, I've just cut out an image, made that into a journaling card. So that tucks in there, that flips over. But look at the layers, different sized and coloured papers. I just think that's lovely. That comes over. Again, lots and lots of journaling space. This is the Narcissus Fairy. You've got some vintage ledger page there. I've just made a little tag here. I have stuck it down onto that envelope flat. This is the Horned Poppy Fairy in there, and that's on some newsprint paper. And then this is another vintage page, because see here, this is a start signature too, as you can see. Yeah, another out of the family book. More of the ink, not ink, coffee dyed textbook. And we've got another little hinge here and a tuck spot with a fussy cut. You can actually feel it, obviously. It's 3 layers. The fussy cut fairy on some coffee dyed paper and some card. Some of that red organza ribbon. Got another one of these mulberry papers with fibres and like ink splats through. Another one of these packaging paper pockets with the song of the U Fairy. You've got a fabric flower and a paper tag there, and this is the song of the Elderflower Fairy. Okay, and then as we come over, this is a big fussy cut again, beautiful, with a bee, and this fairy's balancing on this large leaf. This is coffee dyed deli paper. It's the paper I use when I'm coffee dyeing my papers. This is vintage ledger. I've just done a little sort of collection here of 2 different laces and a paper tag. That opens up to form the centre of the signature. And then as we bring this over, this will open out, because the ledger pages are very, very big, and I didn't want to break it or cut it down, so I just folded it. Got some more pretty lace up here, because that's on another one of these very long envelopes that's under a paper clip. You've got more of that jelly paper, and then you've got another hingy piece, beautiful picture here, and you've got, it's not a pocket, it's just lace and fabric. Another big picture from the book, 2 sort of sisters almost. You've got sort of, I don't know, a 2 or 3 year old here maybe, and a 7 or an 8 year old, something like that. There's another fussy cut little fairy here on this mulberry type paper, and then I've just put a embellishment here, because on the back of this part here there was a lot of text that didn't make sense on the back, so I've just put that over the top. There's coffee dyed paper with that beautiful lace again that's got the sequins on. This is actually 3 different layers of lace, because you've got the netting, you've got the plain white lace, and then you've got this patterned lace and then sequins. And this is the same. You've got this belly band with a poppy postcard and the sliding picture. Another one of these envelopes with that burgundy embellishment. And that sits under there. Again, that pocket is empty. Envelope is empty. You've got coffee dyed textbook again. Another page from that family book with a beautiful white and gold lace. And then a hinge page. This again is an envelope. Now these are what I was talking about recently in one of my other videos that we call wet the beds, but I found out they're actually called jack-o'-lanterns from reading this book. So there you go, I found something. The other side of the envelope is plain for you to decorate. Plain ledger page, a lovely sort of marigold type fairy there. And then a delicate purple lavender type fairy with a butterfly. And then you've got another gusseted pocket on this coffee dyed page. This is another guest check. But this one is just a fold out. It's not an envelope. And there's a picture from the book. It's some of that lovely lace, but I've just inked it up this time. And there's obviously lots of journaling space there. And then you've just got a little journaling card here. And I thought this was particularly interesting because where I've coffee dyed papers, you can see it's actually got the lines of all the other papers that were on top of it. I thought that was quite lovely. So that goes in there like that. And that is the last page. And we come back to this green and white fabric, the lace, and this beautiful drawing inside the book. So that's the fairies, vintage fairy book. Move that one out of the way and let's bring in Victoria. I've always been fascinated by the royal family, and I do own the DVD series they made of the Victoria story. So I just thought, you know, now was the time. Also, I got hold of 2 books. One was My Darling Child, Letters to the Russian Princess, and the other one was Victoria and Albert, their story. So I've combined both books in here. There's lots of, they're obviously copies of original photographs, but lots of original photographs. So I've used some green damask fabric type design on a paper. It's paper. I've used a die cut to go on top of some fabrics. There's 3 different fabric layers there, some broad anglaise, and the die cut then surrounds that picture of Victoria. I did a fabric ruffle with a doily and this brooch. I thought it sort of mimicked some of her dress. And then onto the spine we've got some of that. I'm just going to snip, there's a loose thread there. I just want to snip that. There we go. There's some more of that same bluey green fabric, and it's got a greeny, almost identical colour lace. There's a cream lace, and then down the spine I've just sewn sets of pearls, well, imitation pearls obviously, but pearl beads and glass seed beads all the way up, just for some texture. And now obviously you can see that paper, it's like a green floral damask. Again, it's a hard book cover that's been gutted. The closure is this very, very soft lace. Okay, so if we open her up, and inside I've actually used the dust cover of the other book. This one it's the brown one. This is the My Darling Child book cover, and this is the picture out of the Victoria and Albert book, because it was a bigger book, so I've trimmed it down. And I've added this broderie anglaise and this same lace that's in the tie, just because I thought it was a little bit, you know, like her petticoats. And there's also some white up there. Lots and lots of petticoats in that time, wasn't there? So I've stuck all that down to the inside, and this was the inside dust cover. A letter from 1896 from Balmoral, from Queen Victoria to the Russian Princess. And then here I've just made a little flip open and coffee dyed paper with some lace and this card and a V for obviously Victoria. It's on a page from that vintage bank book that I've got. And this is quite heavy, so it will flop open, but it will also stay shut. And then on this side, this is a picture of Queen Victoria as a 4-year-old with her mother, and this is the word or the name Victoria written by Queen Victoria at the age of 4 from 2 different books. And then I've just done some gathered lace with a different heavier cotton lace on top. And then as we come over, this is a picture of Albert as a young man. This is before they'd met in a romantic sense, because they were obviously related. You've got coffee dyed paper, beautiful lace down the side there. And then here, coffee dyed paper, lots of journaling space in here. This is that coffee dyed paper, and I stuck to it a picture of Albert much later than obviously this one. And it's arched a bit like a cabinet card. And then as we come over, you can see there's a paper clip there. We pull the paper clip off. It's just a decorative paper clip, but this little picture does come out of this little tiny lace pocket on top of this embossed paper. So that just sits in there like that. And this opens out, and this is Windsor Castle. It does actually say there that that's relating to the picture in front. A daguerreotype type is the type of photograph of Prince Albert taken at Brighton on the 6th of March 1842. Okay, so that's that picture, and that's the information about it. We'll put that back just to keep that flap down. And then here we've got a picture of Victoria and Albert and some of the children, and that's on a large envelope. And on the envelope I've also put this Broadie Anglaise white and gold lace into a ruffle. I've put a black and gold cameo that I've made. This is a piece of the excess paper from the cover. This is obviously music paper that decorates the envelope. And in the envelope I've put some things that you might think are odd, but I'll explain. So there's a journaling page, mainly because of the dates. Okay. And that's from a vintage ledger. There is a letter here from the Queen to the Russian Princess, Windsor Castle, January the 3rd, 1872. So that goes in there. And then I've just put in these 2 tickets that I've made. And the reason I've put them in there is because you can see this is handwriting, writing a letter, and it's got like a regal stamp on it. So I put that one in there. And they were very into nature at this time. They were starting to develop greenhouses and growing plants and all sorts of things like that. So we've got a leaf there. That's a die cut from Tim Holtz. And again, into nature. So I've got 2 butterfly dials. And this again is from Tim Holtz. This one's fabric. This one's paper. And then there's a poppy on the back there. That paper comes from Artimaze. So that goes in there. And then on this side we have got I can't think what it's called now, a patent sheet from 1898 for a locomotive, something to do with a locomotive. And Prince Albert was heavily into machinery and travel and locomotives, so that's very relevant there. And then I've just got a lift up for secret journaling, and that's an embossed page. These are the centre cords, 3 little glass seed beads on there, and 3 little pearls on that one. Coffee dyed pages. This, I've glued a page with another page that's slightly shorter, and that makes this pocket, yeah. So this is an Artimaze, but again into their nature, and it's green and yellow and fits well with the book. I've got two vintage pages here about leaves, slightly torn, but that's because of their age. Okay, and I've popped both of those into there. I also had, very much more modern, but this pair of golden leaves, and I just thought with the regality of the book, the golden leaves could work. We've got coffee dyed deli paper again, we've got plain coffee dyed paper that side, and then we've got a fabric paper belly band and a little nature tuck there. There's a postcard here, and it says on the back, this is Kensington Palace 1819. Goes through the belly band and just tucks into that holder there, and this is just again another nature plant that you can journal on, and again it goes under the belly band and into the point there. This is a very different type of ledger paper, but again green fits well with the book. Here I've used part of an envelope to make a pocket, but also it's glued down on the flap of the envelope, so you've got a secret journal in there. Then in the envelope you've got "In her as mother, wife and queen," and this is actually a summons to attend the Queen's coronation, countersigned by Her Majesty. Okay, so that goes in there. And then this is just a vintage style map, because people will obviously have travelled a long way for that coronation attendance. There's some lace down the side there. And as we come over here, that's more of that bank book. And this is the end of the signature. And this picture here, there's 3 signatures in this book. Starts this one, and this is Queen Victoria receiving the news of her accession to the throne. So instantly she's thrown from a relatively carefree child into queenhood. And I have glued that at top and bottom and the side to make it into a pocket. And we've got this beautiful photograph here, and this is actually of Prince Albert's sitting room in Buckingham Palace. So that it does just slide in there like that. Okay, then we come over, coffee dyed page. There's more ledger paper there. There's a little envelope that I have made here because there was quite a lot of travel in the day. The Queen travelled quite widely. This is one that I actually made as part of Defemarimba with some jelly plate and an elephant on top. But again, I felt it was quite fitting because she was a well-travelled queen, especially for that time. And then we come over and this is Balmoral, November the 21st, 1873. Again, it's a letter from the Queen to the Russian princess, and that's just under that envelope flap. And then this page says The Lady's Journal, and there's the emblem, 1898. This is a page from my director's diary, vintage page, very old handwriting there. And then just for decoration, down the bottom here, we've got another letter from the Queen. That is at Sandringham, December the 16th, 1878, I think that says. And then here, I've got a bag, one of those like sandwich bags, and I've just put some cake recipe on there in vintage style. The Queen loved her cake, we know. And I've glued up the flap to make a pocket. There's some lace and some book page and inking. Then in that pocket, there's a magnesia advert from back in the day. There's some mistletoe, because it sort of goes with the Christmas cake. And I know that of the time there was plenty of mice and rats in the castles, So this is a mason jar where maybe somebody's making a study of one of the mice, and that's in the pocket there. That was also made originally as part of December. And then we're to the centre of this one, and we've got our strings, 3 pearls on each one. Sorry, I'm lying. 3 pearls on that one, seed beads on that one. And that's obviously vintage music paper. And then as we come over, there's another altered paper clip here. Now this is a picture of Osborne House on the Isle of Wight, large journaling card. And then this is a matchbook style little booklet. So got lace and a picture. This is a G Kerr picture. G Kerr picture. Now when we open it up, we've got 3 vintage style nature cards, because as I've said already, they were very into nature at the time. They would be drawing it and stitching it and taking cuttings and all sorts. And that's onto a paper clip, and that was on there like that, holding that jet card. And there you go, there is the top of that director's diary, June the 23rd 1909. That's an original. We've got a picture of Victoria and Albert at Frogmore Lakes, and then we've just got a little tuck spot here, and in the tuck spot is a picture of this very elegant lady, and this is Louise, Duchess of Saxe-Coburg and Gothia, and she was the mother of Prince Albert. So that goes in there. And there's just a vintage page behind how newspapers are made. And that comes over, and there's a little hinge. A lot of these sort of hinges in my books at the moment. And then here we've got another beautiful image, and this is another sitting room at Buckingham Palace. And this is page 72 of a vintage ledger, and this is 1926. It's an original. Coffee dyed paper. Made a pocket out of this broadé anglaise. I thought it was quite fitting with the book. And another beautiful picture here, and this is the stepmother of Prince Albert. So she's in there. And then this is Victoria and Albert. I don't know that this is their wedding day for definite, but it looks like it to me. So, and then here I've got another tag. I've used the paper that's on the outside of the book for the back. We've got Balmoral, May 28th, 1872 on the background, and this is a picture of all the royal family, and the master of the household is the title of that. So that's that one. And then this is Queen Victoria with 2 of the princesses, this beautiful heart lace. And there's also, they used to sort of have port and cigars and card games, didn't they, at the time? It's a really thick page from an old book about playing bridge. And then here we've got another journaling card, another beautiful black and white photograph, and I believe that is inside Osborne House. And this again is a little ditty from the Queen, Osborne House, February the 14th, 1874. And then this is a picture from inside Crystal Palace. I'm sure those of you that have an interest will know that Prince Albert was the main instigator and general organiser of Crystal Palace. There's just a piece of a page there, and here we've got a horizontal belly band and just a little pad of different papers for note making, and some embossed paper at the top, and just slid the back page in there. just to add another little pad. And then over this side, we're at the centre signature of the third signature. And this is my dearest Albert's own creation. And this is talking about Crystal Palace. And obviously that is Prince Albert. And then this is that page. And this is a poem, Parliament Hill Fields. It's a poem by John Betjeman. And I've put a rather regal looking envelope here. Tied it up with a ribbon. And inside here we have got a picture of all the royal family. We've got a cologne advert and a porcelain decoration. And there's a little bit of glue needed on that edge. I will deal with that. I'm going to put a little tiny double of glue under here now while I'm here, so I don't forget. And that just goes there. And then that goes down and that just ties up like so. So that's our little envelope there. And just pull that back and then tighten that up. But it's not only an envelope, it's also a belly band. So in here, there's Victoria and Albert, large journaling card. And this is the Queen and some of the royal children at Crystal Palace when it was opened. So you've got the belly band for those two things there. Also an envelope, and then you've got book page here. This is that bridge book page. This is another one of those envelope pockets. So it's an envelope. I've glued the flap. You've got secret space there, and we've decorated. It's a very fine paper doily. Got some torn book page and some ink in there, and then you've got a vintage book page here. Another romantic couple. They're very romantic, Victoria and Albert. Well, that's how it seems to me anyway. So that goes in there, and then Darling Child, this is the title page from this book, and this is a picture of Victoria and one of the princesses, and I've just put some lace, and I put the paper from the front cover in there again. And then that comes over. There's some delicate lace on the back there. And there's a piece of a book page here relating to Her Majesty and the Highlands. Little interesting read. And then there's another one of these altered paper clips that has these nature cards in. So you've got just 3 nature cards in there. So they go in there, and that then tucks under there like that. And that again is on that paper clip. And then the back page is Victoria and Albert. And then right into the cover, we've got the other part of that picture that's at the front, and some more of that broad anglaise on there. And that is Victoria. So she's 3 signatures. Okay. She is 9 by 6, slightly alligator, not a huge amount. She's alligator at 2¼ inches. The actual spine is just over an inch. And Fairy, the Vintage Fairies, that's also very slightly alligator. She's alligator at 2 inches. the actual spine is just under an inch. She is 10¼ inches by 8, and there's just 2 signatures in the Vintage Fairies. So those 2 will be going in to my Etsy shop. If anybody's interested, you can pop over there and find out about them. As always, I'd like to say a huge thank you for spending time with me here. Stay safe. I'll see you very soon. Ta-ta for now.